Hey everyone, welcome back to the All the Mods 8 series. In between episodes, you can probably tell based on the time lapses, I did a little bit of extra work off camera. I went to one of the roguelike dungeons and got ourselves a couple of extra spawners that I actually found, and I was able to use this Silk Touch pickaxe that I got. I ended up trading a book with a villager from the village, and I just slapped it on a pickaxe, so it's almost broken because apparently it uses a lot more durability when you're mining a spawner. But anyway, so I got a couple of spawners. I have some stored up in the storage system as well in case we want to add some more later. But anyway, right now I have two more. I have the Wither Skeleton one, which I have all controlled over by the panel, which I'll show in a second. But I also set up a Vindicator spawner, and I found that one on the one of the ships that I was boating by. I went to go and find one, so this is actually a really good source of emeralds, because emeralds is one of the things that I didn't want to have to set up in mystical agriculture, because it's not that fast. So I'm going to use this instead for that purpose. My other plan here is I'm going to probably put a blaze spawner here, and then leave this one open for some other spawner. It might be one of the spawners that we can like change in and out whenever we want to with a spawn egg, in case we ever need something that we don't have and that we can get really quickly this way. Then, as you can see in the montage, I got these supply ships from mine colonies. And there's not a whole lot going on with these. There's some really basic resources in here, like there was some food and such, but I just kept it all the way it was. We don't really need that right now, so. But yeah, I just thought it kind of added a little bit of fun and ambience to the water scene here. Compact machines are actually really interesting, this mod in whole. And basically what a compact machine is, it provides you a room size in a single block space. So for example, this giant one, which is actually what I think we're going to be using today, there is one bigger one, but unfortunately I think it does require netherite. I think it's going to be big enough. At some point I might end up upgrading it, but what this basically is then is just, it's a room that we can put a bunch of stuff in that might be a little laggier on the base, or we just want to kind of hide away because it might not look that great. And that way we can kind of store it there while we do other things. And as long as we chunk load the one chunk that this thing's going to take up, then we should be fine, and that can just run in the background. And that's my plan with the lily pads and mystical agriculture, is I want to put all of the resource generation from mystical agriculture into one of those compact machines, so we can kind of free up some space in here. We don't necessarily need a whole bunch of just plants, particles causing a bunch of lag. So let's go ahead and craft this thing then. So it's actually very straightforward to make. All it requires is deep slate, and the deep slate here is just the normal deep slate made into the polished version, like so. And then we can just make ourselves some of these compact machine walls. And finally, we combine those with a diamond block, and we get ourselves one of the compact machines. Nice. Now, what we also need with the compact machine mod is the personal shrinking device. Now, this is where it gets a little more expensive, but we need these because we need to be able to get it. This is what gets us in and out of the compact machine. So we're going to grab that just like so. And that should be all we need. I think right now we're just going to kind of slap that down right here. When you're holding the personal shrinking device, all you have to do is shift right click, and you should be able to enter and exit the oh, it's just right click. Okay, sorry. You just have to right click it, and then that way you get access to this brand new room. So that's really handy. And what I think we're going to do is get ourselves some of the farmland, and we're going to try and set ourselves up a little area in the compact machine for mystical agriculture. All right, so I have this set up here. This is almost takes up the entire space of this room. So we might end up having to just change this so we can have one space maybe in the middle that we take out a spot, because we might want to be able to go up and down, not too difficultly. I think I'll just end up putting maybe some scaffolding here, and then we can layer it up. We can have multiple tiers of this. So anyway, this is basically going to be the entire setup. All we're missing now is the seeds in here, and we also need a way to harvest those seeds once they're fully grown. And there's multiple ways that we could do this. when I just typed in the word harvester just to see what we had options, is this harvester pylon from the pylons mod. And if you take a look at this, this is actually really cheap. All this requires is some iron, a little bit of quartz, the hay bales, and some blackstone. Now, the blackstone itself, I think there's not really a way we can get this without going to the nether, because we do need to get ourselves some blackstone to make this thing with. But that actually might not be a bad thing, because then we can maybe go to the nether this episode. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some inferium seeds, and we're going to see how fast this thing actually does grow inferium. So I'm thinking what we can do is just put the harvester pylon right in the center. We can place it inside the water block source, and then I guess we can either just put a chest or something on top of this, or pipe it into it, and then we can maybe just have an ender chest set up where we take all of these seeds and move them somewhere else, like maybe somewhere where we can do some auto crafting into materials or such. But for the inferium, for right now, I think all we want is this just going right into our storage system so we can use it when we want it. I figure because we're not really using this thing anymore, we might as well repurpose this room. It also keeps some of the noisy nether portal sounds away from the base. They can get a little annoying sometimes, and also the zombie piglin that will inevitably spawn in the portal just kind of keeps it away from there. All right, so our goal is to really just get into the nether and get ourselves a little bit of blackstone, ideally without dying. So we got some blackstone right here that we can grab. This is not looking too bad at all. We might just vein mine this, just like so, and that honestly should be plenty for what we want to do today. So all we should have to do now is basically just put this in the middle here, and this is on. Now it looks like this can be extended up to 9 by 9, and it is on, so I think this might actually require, there we go. Is that gonna work? Tool required for operation. All right, so now if we put this hoe inside of the actual tool. Oh, nice, there we go. And wow, that was a lot of essence all at once. That's gonna fill up like immediately. We are gonna need to put a bit bigger barrel in there, I believe. So I think that's what we're gonna have to do at some point, is put a bigger barrel, and this hoe is gonna wear out probably pretty quick as well. Just gonna right click these, and there we go. That's a good amount of space. I also think I'm gonna add in some stack upgrades. I have a feeling this is gonna run out of the hose durability way before we fill this thing anyway. So I think we'll keep it like that. That's not too bad. I think we do want to get ourselves that blaze spawner. I'm thinking we're at a point in the pack now where I feel comfortable getting ourselves some early game power, and hopefully, if we can, get ourselves a starter jetpack. I think we'll probably just stick with the gold. We might be running out of gold slowly. Now, how expensive is Invar? 2 iron and nickel. I'm not 100% sure. This one is a little bit better too. It has a little bit more energy storage, so that might not be a bad thing. So maybe we will go with the Invar one. That's going to require us to make a little bit of Invar blend with the hammer and some dust and stuff, but I think we can probably end up affording that. Not too bad. But you might be thinking to yourself, how are we going to use a jetpack without any sort of power? I've thought about a little bit about what I want to do with this, and I think what we're going to end up going with, just for the early game, is thermal expansion. Now, thermal expansion was just added to the pack a couple, either last update or the update before, so it wasn't originally in the pack. So if you're playing along with me and you don't see it, you probably have to upgrade your pack or update your pack. For now, I think what we're gonna do is we just need a little bit of temporary power to power ourselves a jetpack. It doesn't have to be super fast, so what I'm leaning towards is the lapidary dynamo, and that's because we can use emeralds to produce, and we have basically an infinite source of emeralds using that spawner we have downstairs. So this gives us 125,000 RF per emerald, and we can basically keep this thing stocked all the time. We have tons of emeralds flowing in. That's not a problem ever. So we can probably set up a few lapidary dynamos just for the start. So I went ahead and I think I have enough material here to craft 3 of these dynamos. We might be able to make a couple more after, but I think for now that's going to be fine. We can also use the basic energy pipe from the pipes mod. That is a really cheap option for power. And last but not least, we need something that we can put the jetpack in to charge it up. And I think what a good option would be also is from Thermal Series called the Tinker's Table. And it lets you use it to be like a charging station. And also it has a power buffer in there too that it can fill. So this also just requires a little bit of gold and redstone, and we should have enough to make it. Okay, so for now, I think I'm going to set this up. Right now, this is just a very temporary setup, so I think I'm going to set this up just down where the emeralds here. I'm going to move this back a little bit. So what we're going to do is just have this come in something like that. We're going to set the extract on these two, and now these should be able to be taken some emeralds out and put these in, and that's going to start charging our Tinker's workbench. Perfect. So we have some very, very slow, but it's working power, which is really handy. We can't upgrade these to produce more RF per tick, and I don't know how expensive those are, but they do probably require some dynamo. Output rate is doubled, so let's see. Yeah, so this requires some silver, some hardened glass, which I believe is just... Oh, we need to use an induction smelter. And then what I can do is just hopper in or pipe in some emeralds in the back of all of these. I'm thinking maybe we get 9 dynamos total, and we'll have the barrel just here for now. Actually, we can drop that one more back. We don't need that top one. There we go. So now all we need to do is hook up these power cables, just like so. Set the extract on all of these. Make sure you do set the extract on these, because I don't think they'll actually auto pump out unless they are set to extract, which you can see from the little symbol on the cable. There we go. I think those are all set to extract. Now all we have to do is put in some emeralds into this thing, and we should be ready to go. I'm going to grab a whole bunch of these. There we go. Okay, so we essentially have ourselves a way we can get a charged jetpack very, very easily. Okay, we have the wood jetpack, just like that. And we have the stone jetpack, the silver jetpack, and finally there's the Invar jetpack. There we go. So that's about as high as I think my crafting capabilities are right now. I am running desperately out of gold. I only have 116 gold ingot left. I'm thinking, in the meanwhile, just to help speed this up, I was going to replace some of the inferium in here with gold seeds, because this thing is definitely, yeah, wow, that thing is, we are completely out of gold. So I think I'm going to replace maybe this quarter here, and that'll let us place all this gold in here. This is obviously not a permanent thing. I want every one of these to have their own as well, and I'm going to make another hoe as well. I think what we're going to do is kind of replace some of this with diamond seed as well, because we are going to need to make a bunch of diamond hoes to keep fueling this thing in the meanwhile. Diamond hoe, we only have 51. Tell me I have some diamond seeds I can throw in here. There we do. Okay. And maybe we'll just put in a bunch of the diamond hoes. I can also like enchant these, but I think I'm just gonna wait until we get ourselves the unbreakable hoe. That'll be probably just the easiest instead of having to constantly try and repair it. And we'll put that there. We'll give ourselves another hoe. That should then end up using those. And we are going to get ourselves some more seeds and essence. Yeah, this thing is charging quite slowly. Now that we've gone through the backlog of power, now we're just using whatever these things are producing. So it's going up pretty slow. Actually, with this leftover invar we have here, I can make ourselves a few of these hardened integral components. This is actually not too bad. How expensive is the induction smelter? That's pretty cheap because we have invar. We might actually get ourselves into a little bit of thermal here. Just one machine, really. This machine frame is got some issues here trying to craft this thing. Okay, there we go. So we do actually have enough to craft ourselves an induction smelter. Then we can make ourselves the hardened glass. For now, that should be okay. And that should be all we need. Is this thermal machine, and it's going to keep itself up with power, which is good. There we go. That should be enough hardened glass. Now we're going to dump in the gold and silver, and that's going to start pumping out some electrum. Nice. All right, this requires just the plates, which requires a hammer. 8, 9. There we go. So that should be enough of these for this. So now we just need to craft all of these into these. There we go. That's 9 reinforced components. This will require lumium. Lumium can be made with glowstone, tin, and silver. Inderium is what we need. The other component we need, and that is made with 2 ender pearls, 3 lead ingots, and diamond dust. Okay, I'm just finishing up a little bit of processing. I'm almost done. I am just doing the last bit of Inderium, and then I'm going to craft up the last few of these components for the dynamos. But I noticed that the Invar jetpack is fully charged, so let's take this thing out for a bit of a test drive. This jetpack goes in your body slot on your hotbar here, so you can actually have all of your armor on and have this, and it'll actually give you a bit of a boost to your armor as well. Not a lot, but a little bit. So you have to go into your settings to bind the jetpack to different keys. I have mine set to turn on with the H button. The hover mode is the H button, and the on is just the G key. So we're going to turn the engine on, and we can just hold the space bar and we can fly. Now, without toggle mode on, you'll just fall to the ground, so that's not necessarily the greatest. So if we put toggle mode on, the elevation decreases the more or the higher tier your jetpack is. So, but you can see our jetpack energy is going down relatively slowly. This should be plenty of energy for us to go and explore the nether with. We can zip around quite quickly, as you can see. I usually will keep the throttle, if I'm just like kind of working around the base and such, I'll keep it probably to 60% or so. That's a nice workable speed, so that way we can kind of move around nicely, and yeah, that's a really handy to have. I need to smelt up a little more hardened glass. That'll go really quick, and then we can get ourselves all finished up here. Okay, so I have all of the components ready to go here. I'm just going to pop one into each of these, and that will help speed up the outputs drastically. I also made ourselves enough of these auxiliaries to I'm just trying to get in here. There we go. We do the best result you can get for the maximum power output is 3 of these auxiliary reaction chamber upgrades, and then 1 of the resonant integral component. So that is kind of the max power you can get out of one of these lapidary dynamos. And again, because we have infinite emeralds, I'm not worried about what they're consuming to make the power, so this should be totally fine. And yeah, so now each of these dynamos can produce 640 RF per tick, and we have 9, so that's quick math, close to 5,700 RF per tick that we have out of this system. So if we need anything like to charge and stuff, that should be actually quite fast to charge our jetpack now. That thing should pretty much charge up, no problems, ready to go. We're kind of limited, I think, based on the speed of this Tinker's workbench. So we might end up getting a better option for this down the road. Oh, it looks like we can actually increase it with the augments here. But for now, that's fine. So yeah, so now we have everything we kind of need to go and grab ourselves a blaze spawner. What we're going to do for the episode next time, we'll probably go grab that and find that at the beginning of the next episode, and we'll keep going from there. So I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. If you guys have any comments or feedback, please leave it. Or if you want to see anything specifically that I maybe didn't touch on enough that you were interested in, also let me know. And have a great day, everybody. Bye.